Good morning, everybody. Welcome to FT Kids. It's so great to be here with you again on this day. Wasn't it beautiful weather on Friday? We got to be outside maybe. It was warm, perfect fall weather. It almost felt like summer a little bit. Well, today's a little bit chillier, but that's okay. We're in here together and we're ready to have a wonderful time. So I've been putting up our sheep back here. If you are comfortable introducing yourself in the chat or telling me who's here, that would be great. So as you know, I'm Mrs. Karen Pritchard, Miss Karen, Mrs. Pritchard, whatever works for you. We have Mr. Josh here doing our stream. We have Paris here as well. We have Mr. Derek on the chat. I'm just reading. Let's see. We've got Mason, Gianna, Sammy. Let's get you up on the board. Sammy. All right, already up here we have Paris and me, Noah and Ben, Becky. Miss Becky's on. Fiona, Becca, Alyssa, Quinn, Anna, Sophia. I know the Henrys are here. Who's here from the Henry family today so I can put you up on our board? Oh, I see Eli and Piper. Good morning, Quinn. Love having you with me on Sundays. Let's see, Piper, Eli, get you all up in our pasture. Eli, Piper, Ben, Noah, yep, you are here. Sawyer, wonderful. Glad that you're joining us. Anna, Luke, Sadie, okay, great. I need to make sheep for Anna and for Sadie. Let's get you up there. In our pasture. Wonderful. Reese, hello. It's so good to have you. Good morning. I bet it's not as chilly where you are as it is where we are. I could be wrong, but that's my guess today. Let's see. I think I've gotten everybody up here. If I miss somebody, give me a shout out. And if someone comes later, I can put them up too. We'll just set these sheep off to the side. You might remember that the reason we are talking about sheep is that we are learning about Psalm 23. In Psalm 23, we are told that the Lord is our shepherd. A shepherd takes care of sheep, and God takes care of us like a shepherd would. So we have our sheep here in our pasture or our meadow. We have a calming stream there as well, and we'll remind ourselves why in just a minute. So today is the last day that we'll be talking about Psalm 23 here in FT Kids. We've been talking about Psalm 23, and it's the most quoted psalm of all. So far, we have learned, the Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need. So he takes care of us, gives us anything that we might need, just like a shepherd does for sheep. God gives us rest. That's why we have that peaceful stream back there. It's a place to rest and be calm. In fact, I see one of those sheep looking like they're taking a drink. Last week, we learned that God leads us through dark valleys. We mean that as hard times. So we learned that it doesn't mean we won't ever have hard times. What it means is that God will always be with us during those times. We can talk with him, he'll guide us, he'll give us what we need to manage and get through. Today, we are going to be celebrating God overflowing our cups with blessings. So we're going to start out with a question, and I'd love to hear what your answer is. What food or drink would you love having overflowing amounts of? What food or drink would you love having overflowing amounts of? I gotta say, Pizza is high on my list. Oreos, double stuffed, definitely high on that list. Like, you could have an overflowing bowl of Oreos and I would be a happy girl. There are some vegetables I like too. I do like peas. That would be funny. Can you imagine the peas rolling all over the table and the floor if I was overflowing my container? Oh my gosh, Mr. Derek says ice cream. That's fantastic. Oh, Becca says lemonade. Becca, can you imagine the mess it would make if your cup of lemonade overflowed? That would be hilarious, as long as I didn't have to clean it up. Gianna and Sammy say apple cider, another thing that could be messy and sticky. Ooh, popcorn. That's awesome. Mason saying Snicker bars. You know, I considered that, Mason. I love Snickers bars. I really did consider that. Anna says mom's homemade bread. Okay, is it warm with a little bit of butter on it? Maybe some jam? Peach jam? Homemade? Let's see. Potato chips. Reese, I have a feeling you and Miss Sue would be on the same wavelength with that. I've heard she loves potato chips. I heard that during Sue and Zami this summer. Let's see. Eli says soda and spaghetti and meatballs. Hopefully not mixed together, the soda with the spaghetti and meatballs. Alyssa says ice cream. Ooh, just like Mr. Derek. Noah and Ben, oh, let's see. Coke says Noah, and Ben says root beer. Ooh, mac and cheese. That would be awesome. I love mac and cheese. Lemonade, pickles. My daughter would agree with the pickles.
I'm thinking about making some nachos with some hamburger meat, smothered with nacho cheese sauce for dinner.
Paris is saying he wouldn't mind for dinner tonight having nachos with hamburger meat and smothered in nacho cheese. That could be overflowing during dinner tonight. Piper says water. Cool, Piper. Sawyer says ice cream sandwiches. Quinn says candy. Oh, good, Eli. Not mixed together. That's good. And let's see. Oh, Gatorade. I wonder if there's a special color or flavor. So we all have things that we really love that we would really like to have overflowing amounts of. Well, I said that in Psalm 23, we're going to be learning about God overflowing our cups with blessings. Well, let me tell you, having some of these foods overflowing would sure be a blessing to me. But what that means is that it's like each of us have a cup inside of us, or a cup in our life. Not a real one, but an imaginary one, a feeling one. When he overflows our cups with blessings, it means that our cups get full with all those blessings and they overflow. It's almost like there are so many blessings in our life, we don't know what to do with them all. They're just so abundant, we could say. That's a great word. That it feels like we're overflowing. We can't even contain all these wonderful things inside us or in our life. Some of those blessings that he overflows our life with are love and goodness. And so we're going to be talking about that today. But first, we have an excellent song for this, and it is called Thankful. Get up, sing, dance. It's really energetic.
I like to think about the goodness of the Lord. He gives me everything I need and so much more. So I just want to lift my hands and say that I love him. I just want to lift my heart in praise. And I want to be thankful. I want to be grateful. I want to remember everything that the Lord has done. I want to be thankful. I want to be grateful. I want to be. I like to think about the goodness of the Lord. He gives me everything I need and so much more. So I just want to lift my hands and say that I love him. I just want to live
Isn't that a great song? Honestly, I was listening to it last night, getting ready for this morning, and the whole time I was getting ready for church today, that song was going through my head. I think that is a fabulous way to start your day, just to think about what you are thankful for and how the things that we have, we can be thankful to God for. That is so wonderful. Well, let's go back and read what we've heard from Psalm 23 the past few weeks, and then we'll go on to today's verse. Psalm 23 was written by David, and it was written to talk about how God provides for us like a shepherd provides or takes care of their sheep. So far we have heard, "The Lord is my shepherd, I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams," just like back there. "He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me." Here's today's verse, Psalm 23:5. "You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings." David says that his cup overflowed with blessings, which is just like us saying, God blesses us abundantly. Abundantly meaning more than it feels like could be possible. Because with God, all things are possible, even the things we don't think are. Well, now I'd like to talk about a person that we read about in the Bible named Ruth. In fact, Ruth has a book in the Bible named after her. We're going to be reading about her. While we do that, I'm going to have this in front of me. And we're actually going to look at how a cup overflows. A real cup. Ruth's story starts out with her cup being totally full of blessings. And we meet her today at the point in her life where her cup is full. However, her cup got emptied out. Her husband, her brother-in-law, her father-in-law all died. And it felt like her cup was empty. Well, Ruth followed her mother-in-law. That means that would be her husband's mom. Remember, her husband passed away. Remember, her father-in-law, her husband's father passed away. So now she's following her mother-in-law, Naomi, to a place called Judah. And that is when God began to give her new blessings in her life. Well, Ruth and Naomi were in this new place, and they needed food. So Ruth went to a farm of a rich relative of her father-in-law. She didn't know him, but she went to the farm anyway. And her plan was that when his workers were done picking grain, she would go behind them and pick up anything that they dropped. So if they were picking and some fell to the ground and they said, "Oh, we don't want that anymore. It's been on the ground. Who would want to eat that?" She would come behind them and pick it up, and she would take that home so that she and Naomi would have food to eat. Well, Ruth didn't just get that little bit of grain that was left behind on the ground. We're going to read Ruth 2, 8 through 9, and 15 through 18. And we're going to hear what happened with Ruth. The name of the rich relative she was working for is Boaz, and you will hear us talking about him. Boaz went over and said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay here with us when you gather grain. Don't go out into any other fields. Stay right behind the young women picking in my field. See which part of my field they are harvesting, and then follow them. I have warned the young men not to treat you roughly. And when you are thirsty, help yourself to the water they have drawn from the well." Wow, that's pretty awesome. Let's keep going and hear what else she was blessed with. When Ruth went back to work again, Boaz ordered his young men, "Let her gather grain right among the sheaves without stopping her, and pull out some heads of barley from the bundles and drop them on purpose for her. Let her pick them up, and don't give her a hard time." So the first part of our reading talks about her being in Boaz's field. And Boaz is saying, I don't want you to have to go other places. Stay right here with the women who are in my fields and be a part of this group. So he was letting her be a part of his workforce. Then he said to her, I've made sure that the male workers don't treat you roughly. In other words, I've told them that you are now one of us, and so they should treat you well. In fact, he went on to read later and said, make sure that you are purposely leaving some grain on the ground for her. Don't just do it by accident, but I want you to purposely drop grain so that she has more than what she needs. And when you draw water for yourselves from the well, I want you to make sure that Ruth gets some too. So, God provided food for Ruth and Naomi. That's a blessing that filled their cup. Then Boaz also made sure that Ruth had water while she was working, so that if she was thirsty, she had what she needed. She was taken care of. So that was a blessing for her as well. Wow, that cup is getting full. Well, I'm going to read another part in Ruth. This is Ruth 4, and we're going to read verses 9 and 10. This is what it says. Then Boaz said to the elders and the crowd standing around, you are witnesses that today I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. So those are Ruth's relatives. And with the land I have acquired Ruth, the Moabite widow of Mahlon, to be my wife. This way she can have a son to carry on the family name of her dead husband and inherit the family property here in his hometown. You are all witnesses today. So what that is telling us is that Ruth got married to Boaz. So again, she has been giving blessings, and her cup filled even more. I have a question for you at this point. Have you ever been to a wedding? Can you tell me about a wedding you've been to? And if you've never been to one, have you heard about one? Can you tell me a little bit about it? Maybe tell me one thing you know about it, or something you remember about being at one. Do you remember the way someone was dressed? Do you remember something that you ate? Something that you saw? Something that you did? Maybe you danced? Maybe you were part of the wedding. Did you get dressed up? Were other people dressed up? Do you know anybody who's had a wedding? Oh, wow, Reese, that is so exciting. You were the flower girl at your aunt's wedding. You know, I was a flower girl once too at my godfather's wedding. It was so special. Quinn was also a flower girl. She was in her cousin's wedding. Anna says yes for 2 weddings. She was a flower girl, wow, for both. And she saw a lot of people looking really nice. Yeah, a wedding is a special occasion, and usually you do get dressed up. Cool. The Florios have heard about their mom's wedding. It's really neat to hear about when our parents get married. Piper and Eli remember going to a backyard wedding reception this summer with food and games. Outside was the perfect place for a reception this summer. No, I didn't think that you probably went to your mom's wedding, Noah. That makes sense. Ooh, a lot of food and cake. I love how weddings overflow with food and cake. Fiona remembers watching Miss Becca and Josh getting married on TV. She said it was beautiful. Yeah, they got to have their wedding on YouTube just like we're doing for FT Kids today. I got to see it too, and it was really special. How neat that we could see it even though we weren't here in church, or that we could watch it after the fact if we couldn't come at that time. That is really cool. Secret fact, you can still search in First Trinity YouTube and watch it. Wow, 3 weddings you've been to? You are a flower girl for 2 of them? That's super special. Oh, 4 weddings actually. And everyone was so dressed up. Yeah, it's really cool. In fact, sometimes people wear outfits they wouldn't wear anywhere else or any other time. Becca and Alyssa have never been to a wedding reception. The reception is the party that people often have after a wedding, where you get together, you celebrate, you eat. Sometimes there's dancing, usually cake. But they have been to the church ceremony. And the church ceremony is usually a little bit more formal. It's fun, but it's a little more serious, whereas the reception is more like a party, and the ceremony is more like church. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with me. Those are fabulous. So that's probably a lot of what Ruth and Boaz experienced at their wedding. So you can imagine all the blessings that she was feeling on that day. Well, her blessings didn't end there. Next, Ruth had a baby, and God blessed her again. Oh my goodness! Ruth's cup is overflowing. Oh my gosh.
It's like my cup runneth over.
Yes, that's another phrase we hear. My cup runneth over, says Paris. That means it feels like you can't even hold all those blessings that you have been given.
Such a miracle blessing that Ruth gave to Naomi when they were both together.
Yes.
Before her resting place ended.
So
I mean, it's like, it is such a beautiful thing that
Paris is telling us
Ruth cares about other people.
how beautiful it is. So I'm going to share that, okay?
Cares that we all share the exact same feelings for other people.
Okay, so Paris is saying, let's stop there, okay? Paris is saying it's a beautiful thing how Ruth cared for Naomi and stayed with Naomi and made these changes, these changes when they moved and did these things so that they could be blessed together. So look at that. Our cup overflowed with blessings. You know, like I said, it's not a real cup inside of us or in our lives, but this is what it feels like, and this is what it looks like when God blesses us abundantly. That's that word I talked about. How cool. And that's just one example in the Bible of someone who was blessed to an overflowing amount. And it's not just people in the Bible who experience this. You and I can experience this too. God wants this for everybody. He wants everybody's life to be this way, and He is willing to bless us this way too, as long as we follow Him. Well, I want to share something special with you. Whoa, it's overflowing some more. I want to share something special with you about Ruth's baby. The baby's name was Obed. Obed got married and had a son named Jesse. Jesse grew up and had a son named David. Do you remember hearing the name David already today? Yeah, Paris does. David is the person who wrote Psalm 23. Ruth's great-grandson became a king and wrote Psalm 23. Well, guess what? David was one of Jesus's great-grandparents. So, by Ruth marrying Boaz and having a baby, She ended up being part of Jesus' family way before he was around. Isn't that an amazing blessing? Something that she never would have ever expected. Well, God blesses us too. So we're going to do a project together. Let's get that paper out that we talked about having and something to draw with. And I'm going to do my best not to draw crooked, but you know what happens when I'm going sideways. Gianna knows. I bring this up every week. Gianna, remember the classroom when you were in there with me? Woo. Okay, we're going to try to draw ourselves a cup. Now, I'm going to start with my dark marker so it's easy for you to see. When I think of drawing a cup, I think of drawing a long oval at the top. So I'm going to start near the top of my paper. I'm going to draw a long oval, not too wide, and that's going to be the top of my cup. You can do that too. Now what I do is I draw the sides. To make it look like a cup, I don't usually go straight down. I like to have them come in a little bit from each side, kind of angle it in a little bit diagonally. And I want them to come in about the same length. Uh-oh, I can tell already I'm getting a little crooked. Sorry. And then at the bottom, I just connect them with a curved line, kind of like a low smile. And there's my cup. So now we are going to put some pictures or words to show our blessings inside our cup. So I want you to think about things that you have been blessed with and start either drawing or writing about them in your cup. So I'm going to start. Something that's a blessing to me is our First Trinity Church family. So I'm going to draw a cross, because that's a real blessing to me. And you know, you are part of that First Trinity Church family. I feel so blessed by being able to talk with you on Sundays. It'll be pretty cool when we're all back together in person, but right now, this is awesome. I am so blessed that we get to talk together. I get to speak to you, and you get to write to me. That's pretty cool. You know, I'm thinking about family and things like that I could put in my cup as well. I'm wondering, what are you putting in your cup? Could be pictures or words, but could you put that in the chat and let me know? I know God blesses us with food, family, like I said, money. Psalm 23 lists even more than that. While you're putting in the chat what you're writing in your cup, I'm going to read another part of Psalm 23. This is verse 6. It says, "Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever." Yeah, that final part talks about how God blesses us with unfailing love. So even when we might make a bad choice, or we need help, or patience from God, his love never fails, meaning it never ends. It's there forever. It's everlasting. Oh, let's see. We have earth and life. I'm just going to write these words because it would take me a little while to draw the earth. Life, that's a wonderful blessing. Yep, Harris. Yes. That would be great. So let's say health is a blessing. That would be wonderful. Nature, says Mason. Family and friends, says Reese. Books and pets. Awesome, Fiona. Oh, I totally agree with this. Becca says her grandma and papa's 50th wedding anniversary. and going to Russell's in a limo. I saw a limo drive down my street, and I'm like, what's a limo doing on my street? Yeah. Guess where it was going? Kopech's house. No one invited me, just saying. Well, let's put down love there, because that is a huge blessing. Let's put food. Let's put special occasions. And let's put limos. That is a blessing. What else do we have? Computers. Says Anna, and horses. And your home for certain. Siblings, because she always has someone to play with. That's pretty cool. You know, I have no siblings, and that's something I've always thought about as I've grown up, wondering what it would be like. What else do we have? Church, food, a house, my heart, school, families, animals. Oh my goodness, I think our cup is overflowing. I might have to put some of these on the outside.
How about your faith?
Faith is a great one, Paris. Family, parents, church, friends. That's awesome, Gianna and Sammy. Parents truly are a blessing. Quinn says that she thinks the Kopechs are a blessing. I agree with you, Quinn. Do you know how wonderful it is, Kopechs, when you are our friends? You are so caring and loving and kind, and you often talk about God's love with us. Let's put them up there, Quinn. You know, I think every one of you is a blessing. So I'm going to put all of the FT kids, and that includes you. And that's very, very true. When you are here or when we see you outside of church, you are a true blessing.
Oh, we also learned about the Reformation of Martin Luther
That's true.
in church about 500 years ago when he had preached, and then it's like we have to remember about Martin Luther.
All right, Martin Luther is on here. Goes with today's sermon. Warm weather, says Reese. You rubbing it in. Are you rubbing that into us? The Kopechs are very appreciative, McHugh family. Health, absolutely. That's a for sure. Well, you can add a couple more things. And while you're doing that, I just want to talk a little bit about what is to come. So through the month of November and dipping into the month of December, we are going to be working on another verse in the Bible. Another, I shouldn't say verse, I could say chapter of the Bible. And next week, Mrs. Cross is going to be the one who is with you. She and I are going to work together, and you'll see her on some Sundays, and you'll see me on some Sundays. We are so excited about spending this time with you. So you can get ready for a little bit of a change next week as we start something new in the Bible, a different study. But I've got to say, really digging deep into this psalm with you has been a very special time for me. I have learned so much, and I've enjoyed being with each of you. Let's end today with a prayer. You might want to fold your hands, bow your head, maybe even close your eyes. Oh, and be sure you repeat after me. God, thank you for guiding us like a shepherd, giving us rest, being with us in hard times, and overflowing our cups with blessings. Amen. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care.